everybody, this is Jennifer Navarrete. We're inside the Social Media Lounge at Initech San Antonio, and I'm here with Major General Suzanne Vautrinot. And there's a whole list of things that you do, so I'm going to try and get it out, but I want you to explain it in detail for our viewers.
Sure,
so you are the commander of the 24th Air Force and commander of the Air Force's Cyber, which is the component to the U.S. Cyber Command, right?
You got all of that right. You don't need me.
First of all, talk about why you're interested in this, because obviously if you're in this field, there's an interest there. You know, you could have done just about anything, but you wanted to get into cyber. So can you talk about that?
Well, you know, I'm a little older than some that are truly expert in cyber these days, so I'm still an immigrant. I started in the space business, building satellites and flying satellites, and of course the networks that are associated with being able to operate them. And so that naturally gravitated into networks that support other mission areas. And so a few years ago, when the Air Force and the Department of Defense recognized that cyber was a domain, and when we say domain, it's kind of like air has its own rules, and ground and sea, and so there's this the laws of air are Bernoulli, and how do you do avionics and everything, and then you've got space, and that's kind of Kepler. How do things operate in space is different. Cyber is a domain, just like those others. The difference is that it operates differently than the other domains. It's man-made. We made it, we can change it. It was made for all good purpose, to communicate, to allow collaboration. And what we found, just like with the sea lanes of communication, there's pirates out there. There's bad folks in the hills. And so at the same time that everyone recognized that you could be more productive, more effective by leveraging information technology, cyber, it was also a contested environment. There were adversaries. And the difference is that because industry built this man-made domain and could change it, that meant that from a military or a nation standpoint, you don't have this advantage where you can stay ahead of another nation state. Everybody's in the same space.
Right, and you don't have the borders that you do. So if you think about, you know, even country borders or city borders, there's a certain limit, but with cyber,
it's global.
Yeah, it's everywhere all the time.
It operates on its rule sets. It doesn't mean that no rules apply, but from a uniform standpoint, you know, chivalry is dead and never existed in cyber. We're all there together, so there are no people that are protected, that are the innocents, that are the non-combatants. From a cyber standpoint in national defense, everyone is equally advantaged by cyber and equally at risk in cyber. And so it became a national security imperative to understand and leverage the domain and frankly defend in a way that allowed national security. So your viewers talk personal privacy is something they ought to be worried about. They get to decide what to share. But you've probably noticed that in cyberspace what they intended to share and what someone takes advantage because they can put pieces together are two completely different things.
Most definitely. I mean, even let's just take Facebook for an example. Every time they do an update or every time they change the rules on us constantly, where we thought we had our privacy settings locked down, and all of a sudden their algorithm has changed, and all of a sudden we're not as protected as we thought we were.
Exactly.
On social networks, we're really not. I mean, if we're throwing stuff out there, it's pretty much out there. But so what can the average user, I mean, how can the average person who wants to be connected but also wants to be safe, what are some of the things that they can do?
This is the yin and yang of it. You want to take advantage, you want to have productivity, and so the individual should do the same things that the corporate environment is doing and all of the experts are doing here today, and frankly that the government is doing. Collaborate to find out what are the behaviors of bad people, what are the criminals and the hackers and other corporate espionage experts, what are they doing and how are they doing it? And when you set up your interface, you set it up to thwart or protect against those things that are known threats. And those things aren't hard to find. This is a nice part about the collaboration between private individuals and the corporate sector, industry, and the government in this area. Since we're all equally at risk, there's a lot of sharing that goes on right up to the intelligence agencies. And so NSA, actually, National Security Agency, publishes how to protect your home computer. Because frankly, if home computers are protected, then adversaries can't come in and use botnets, take over your computer. You don't even know it's operating, but it is becoming part of a network of, robots and computers that are causing a denial of service. And you had no idea you were doing it. So what they did, and we've republished them on our websites, and I'll give it to you, but basically just good practices that you can take care of them at home. It's on the net.
So best practices for keeping your home network secure. And I really like the fact that you mentioned that we can learn, us as individual users can learn from business, because a lot of times we think there's this separation, but in reality it should be a collaboration.
Jennifer, you're exactly right. This is all about collaboration. Matter of fact, what I tell my folks is it's the 3 big C's. Capability, how many things can you do with this great technology? Capacity, how much can you do and for how many people? Is it a global capability or is it just one-off, little silver bullets? And collaboration. And this is the collaboration piece, and I actually brought you specifics on how to secure, if you're doing Facebook, how do you do Twitter, how do you do Google and Smart Card, how do you do LinkedIn? Everything that's wonderful, yin and yang, everything that's wonderful has a dark side. There's folks out there that would take advantage of you, so you should make it to your advantage and make their life more difficult.
Right.
And these are just simple ways to do that. We do the same things in government. That's how I help protect our government networks so that we can conduct a mission on behalf of the taxpayers. I figure if you're going to pay me, I ought to do it right. I ought to be there when you need me.
Absolutely.
And this is how we do it.
So folks, what I have here are LinkedIn, Google+, Twitter, Facebook smart cards that tell you how to use the social networks, but how to do it smartly and safely. And it's like Christmas. I feel like I just got a Christmas present here, because a lot of times folks are curious. They're like, well, I want to share, but I don't want to share too much. And how do I? And this is going to be perfect. So it's fine for me to share this with our
Absolutely.
viewers?
And as a matter of fact, you can go on National Security Agency's website, on Homeland's website. You can go on our website at the 24th Air Force. What you'll find in those sharing portals is an absolute desire to make everyone in the nation more secure, to make our industry more secure, so that we can succeed and have great economic power, so that those things that we think up are intellectual property stay safe until we're ready to bring them to industry or to share them with others. So it's just great.
What can we do, I'm the average Joe, what can we do to help make your job better? How can we make your job easier?
So every person that makes their computer more secure when they interact with others, that's why they call these viruses. Malicious software, on any given 60 seconds, you're going to have 232 malicious attacks on computers. That doesn't sound like a lot, but every one of those 232 computers is attached to hundreds more, which are attached to hundreds more. So every one of your viewers, your listeners, is attached to hundreds of friends and family and colleagues. If they protect themselves and their colleagues and friends and family protect themselves, they create a secure environment that adversaries have less access into and less freedom of action. If they're self-protecting, then they are citizen soldiers in the cyber domain, and that lets us focus on the bad guys that are in adversary space, that are foreign and nation state, instead of the things that are what we call the low-hanging fruit, the easy stuff.
Wow, that's perfect. Yeah, so hey guys, if we do our part, it makes everybody's job easier.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming here and spending time with us. We really appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing. You're keeping us safe.
Likewise. Thanks for helping us make us safe in every single household. So really appreciate it.
Okay, I'm sorry I went a little long, but it was so interesting.